What's up, everybody? I just want to talk about Litecoin for a minute. Litecoin is in a similar spot as to XRP, and I think that's deserves a little bit of attention here. Now, a lot of people don't like it like they used to. It's a dead coin. Nobody's developing on it, blah, 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 all these things, right? Litecoin is a dead coin. It's never going to do. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're totally right, and it is dead. But to me, I don't see it that way. I see as this is also one of the biggest bases in crypto history, right? XRP is the biggest because it's obviously when you look at the market cap top 10, Litecoin's not even in the top 10 anymore. But that gives it a little bit of potential because I feel like it's been forgotten. And I think it's, you got to remember, Litecoin is on every single exchange. It's with Robinhood. There's eventually going to be an ETF with Litecoin, right? When think about when you watch Fox Business or one of those channels, they have 3 coins on. They have Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Even though Litecoin's not even in the top 10 anymore. Why do they keep showing Litecoin, right? It's like nobody even cares, but they constantly show the Litecoin price. I think there's a reason for that. Litecoin has proved the test of time. It's a solid blockchain. It's faster than Bitcoin, right? It's not trying to compete with Bitcoin. It's trying to play in its own role alongside Bitcoin, right? Eventually, Bitcoin's going to be unobtainable. So when that happens, people go to the second best thing, then the third best thing, then the fourth best thing, right? Because as these cryptos start drying up, because they're anti-debt instruments, something the Federal Reserve, right, is very scared of. So I look at a chart and I look at it as reaccumulation, just like XRP, right? Actually, let's put on XRP for a moment. There we go. And I wish they were both in log scale. I don't know why TradingView doesn't allow that. It's just really weird. But anyways, essentially we have a similar looking chart. So you can see we have a rise, we have a crash, we come up into a retracement, and then we go down into reaccumulation, and now we're building a base. We're going sideways. So to me, it looks very bullish. Another reason why it looks very bullish is because look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. We have a 3-wave move. That looks like a 1. This looks like a 2. And this thing's about ready to go into its 3rd wave. I think Litecoin is going to surprise a lot of people. Again, people think it's not going to do anything, and maybe it won't. But again, I just have to look at the chart, and the chart tells me that there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's very bullish. The reason why is because look how massive this structure is, right? It's been basically going sideways for about 7 years. You could see last time we came up and we made a double top, right? Double tops are meant to be broken, especially when you move down correctively and especially when you get a higher low, right? You can see we had that first double top and then we made a low and then we had 3 waves back to the upside, right? Made a double top. But if these lows hold, which it did, it came down and it had a higher low and then it came back up, right? And then it came back up, right? It's holding. There's only one way for this thing to go, and that's up, especially knowing that Bitcoin is in price discovery, right? Because I look at Litecoin, it doesn't have what Ripple has, it doesn't have what XRP has, but it has the chart, okay? It doesn't have all the developers, but it does have the miners. You got to understand, Litecoin also has inflation, right? So, and it's eventually, I don't remember when the Litecoin halving is, but we do know the supply gets constantly cut and cut and cut, right? So we have to look at it like that. And Charlie Lee, the guy who created it, wanted it to be silver, LTC to silver, as Bitcoin is to gold. You have 21 million Bitcoin, you have 84 million Litecoin. It's sort of that ratio that he was trying to go for. It's basically the same thing, proof of work. Again, it stood the test of time. It was one of the first coins on Coinbase, right? You had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. All right, so that was a big deal, and it's still there. And there's no failed transactions, there's no outrageous fees. It's a solid blockchain for people who want to transact as a means of exchange, as Bix Weir would say. Litecoin is the right coin as a means of exchange. Now, am I on that train? I'm on the fence with it, right? I'm not all like, I don't hold Litecoin, by the way. I don't hold it right now. I trade it, but I don't hold it. And I should hold it. But I'm letting you know that I think this thing, not financial advice, but I think it's gearing up for something that's going to surprise a lot of people, especially if we break above the all-time high. Because when you break above a high, that's one thing. But when you break above a high that has two tops, there's so much more interest in that area. That resistance line is so much more significant that when you do break it, what does that mean? There's much more liquidity above it, right? Because everybody at some point in their life, if you've been in Bitcoin since 2017, at those people, even after that, everybody at some point in their life has held Litecoin, right? So let's look at some retracements here. So I'm looking for Litecoin to at least hit $600. That is my bare minimum target for Litecoin is $600. Remember, the all-time high was about $415, but it really was about $383, depending what exchange you look at. So we're not even in the retracement levels yet, let alone even near the all-time high. So we still got to get through $200, we got to get through $240, we got to get through $270, and we got to get through $300. Though this block right in here is going to be the most challenging, right? But at the end of the day, I think it has enough momentum to get it done. The reason why is because if you notice, the price has been contracting, right? So what that does is it's resetting the momentum. It's essentially, a platform, a launch pad, right, to build upon. All right. So when we look at that, we can say, all right, let's just focus on this. Is there anything bullish in here? Well, let's zoom in and get some more wave definition. If you look at the 1 hour chart, you can clearly see, like I showed, is a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks corrective, right? It looks corrective. So, but that's actually a good thing, because as long as it's correcting bullishly in an accumulation range, that's what you want, right? So we technically, and by the way, when things are boring, just like XRP, nobody cared. Nobody was paying attention. All of a sudden it broke out. Now all of a sudden people care. That's what I feel like Litecoin is in a position to do, right? Litecoin always has its moment, right? It hasn't been great for it, but that adds, I think, to the overall building of a base, right? And I think it's going to be highlighted in this bull run. We have to remember, Bitcoin is in price discovery. Bitcoin and Litecoin are sort of like, long lost cousins. Eventually they kind of reunite, and not in terms of value, but in terms of kind of like the glory, right? They have their moment in the spotlight is what I mean. And we should anticipate that. It doesn't mean it's going to happen today or tomorrow or even next month, but I think it's gearing into that, and I'm going to show you why. Again, we have one, and the reason we go, well, why focus on Litecoin? What's so special about it? Well, because if you look at a lot of other coins, Litecoin's an OG, okay? And OG coins have OG charts, right? And those charts are the real deal, and that's the real data. So that gives us a really balanced look at Litecoin as the epitome of what an altcoin is, right? If you think of an altcoin as a poster child, back, not necessarily today, but overall, it would be Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, right? And you can say, well, Litecoin has a smaller market cap. It's not even in competition with these other ones. And that's true. But again, I think that adds to its sort of popularity suppression. Nothing has taken, Litecoin is still Litecoin. Nothing has taken away from its utility value, which is a means of exchange, right? But anyway, we got a 1, and we have 3 down, we have a W, and we have 3 up, we have an X. And actually, that would be an A, that would be a B, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C. All right, that's looks like a flat to me. So we have a 1 and a 2. And what is this? Well, this is, it's, to me, looks like it's sort of revving the engine here, right? It's sort of gearing up for that third wave. This could be wave 1 of 3, right? So like kind of like a 1, 2, and I don't even think it's finished. 3, 4, 5, right? You flag out for a 2, and then you go into that wave 3. So I think there's definitely a lot more time needed on the chart, but I just wanted to come and check in with the Litecoin community. If you're still out there, let me know. And another, Litecoin doesn't get a lot of love, especially on YouTube. Like, nobody really talks about it, but I will, and I'm sticking my head out for it because I feel like this thing is going to surprise, again, a lot of people. I mean, look at this, right? We have an A, we have a B, we have a C, right? We have a 3-wave move, right? And if you notice, that's similar to what happened over here, which really is a triangle, right? You can say A, B, C, right? And then we come up for a D, and then this is E. Now, maybe it's not even finished. You can say that, for example, A, B, C, maybe we're not even finished with D yet, right? So for example, watch this. So we have 3 to the upside, and we have 3 to the downside. So 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 3. That's one way to look at it, right? Another way is to say D was already finished and E was already finished, like XRP. Why would XRP be finished and not Litecoin? So either one of them's lying, right? So I think this is the way it should be. It's a triangle, right? And we're, I think, on the horizon here. Now, when you look at it in regards of Bitcoin, Litecoin versus Bitcoin is a disaster. It was a bloodbath. But there's only so much bleeding I think it can do before it goes on a supreme discount in comparison to Bitcoin that people can't pass up, right? Cheap Litecoin. Again, where do you think Litecoin's going to, you have to think, where do you think it's going to be in 10, 15 years? Do you think it's going to be completely gone to zero, or do you think it's going to be still trading? I think it's totally going to be trading. If Litecoin goes down, it's going to send shockwaves throughout the crypto community space, because Litecoin was an OG. And if Litecoin's blockchain can go down after it being successful for so long, then that puts into question other blockchains out there. So Litecoin cannot fail. For the good of all crypto community, for the sake of all of us being unified as one community, it doesn't matter if you hate it or like it or not. We cannot have it fail. I don't think it will. I think it's going to do very well. So, not financial advice. We could go to zero, totally, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. So, another thing too, we just broke back above the bull market support band, right? So let's zoom in a little bit, and we're above the EMA ribbon. Look at Litecoin as far as the Bollinger Bands go, right? They have never been so squeezed than they are right now. And we saw what happened to XRP. XRP Bollinger Bands were extremely squeezed. We saw the result and what happened with that. right? So if you are looking for a coin that you can play it safe, I think Litecoin is a safe bet, and that's why I'm really showing this, is because I think it's going to be a safe bet, especially where it's at, right? Not only, I mean, it's right where it used to be 5 years ago, right? 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And with all the inflation we just had, with all the artificial suppression at the SEC, with everything, that's been going on, there's no reason why Litecoin should still be at $86. I think it's massively undervalued. So, and you go, well, why don't you own it? Well, I'm getting there. I'm ready to start acquiring a position. But for me, the way I like to play Litecoin is by trading it, right? So I can kind of dance around it. But if you're into that, do it, right? Don't do it longer or short the way I would do it, but do it to your own beliefs of what you believe. Would I get in right now? Probably not. Now we're gonna get into the small time frames, but yeah, that's a very bullish Bollinger Band there. So another reason too is if you look at the weekly chart, the 2-week chart, it ends in 45 minutes. The weekly candle. So we have been under here. We could take this off because we don't need it anymore. We have been, let's see, 84 days. We just broke Litecoin on a 2-week and a 1-week scale, just broke out of an 84-day range. So let's look at this a little bit closer. I'm going to need let's go to the daily. There we go. So you could see that. That's 84 days right there. Boom, 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 boom. And look at that. We broke out. So I'm planning on getting it. Was it a big breakout? Was it an OMG breakout? Did it put Litecoin on the map breakout? Did it go viral breakout? No, it's a boring sort of nobody cares breakout. And that's kind of what I like, right? If everybody's talking about a coin, then I know that coin has been exacerbated through all the volume, kind of like XRP right now in a way, right? That's why it's kind of cooling off. It already made its big debut. Now it's like, okay, let's build support here. But I'm trying to get in before it makes its debut, right? But I don't even know if it's going to make its debut, right? I basically kind of have a viral moment, if you know what I mean. So, on the monthly scale, we've broken above the loose SAR, so I like to see that. That's good. And we're trending higher still, so right on. But here's what I want to show you. If you go to the monthly chart and you look at the MACD, you can see this was the 2017 run up, right? This was the other bull run that really didn't get you a bull run, but it did go up quite a bit, and it even took the top. You can see here, you can see here. But we haven't seen anything yet, right? And if Bitcoin again is going to 100 plus K, then you have to imagine it's coming for Litecoin as well, right? As far as a pump coming, right? How big can that pump be? I mean, it's hard to know. It might be something special. So, and we can see, a little bit of divergence in here on the MACD, but also we're sort of intertwining. You can see how it's going. The blue line's going below, then back above, then back below, then back above. That's what I call coiling up. And then you can also see the divergence there. You can start to see it's kind of like revving up a little bit, revving up a little bit. I think this thing, once we get confirmation, we cross above the 0 line. So we want these moving averages, like last time, the crossover, right? Which they did. And it crossed over below the 0, which is what we want, right? And it's even crossing below of where it was back over here, even though it was at a lower price. So from here, we're actually a little bit further down. But as far as the price goes, it's actually higher, right? So, yeah, we want to see this thing get going here and cross above the 0 line, and I think it's looking good. Again, on the monthly chart, you can see how we went down and we're wicking off, we're wicking off, we're wicking off, we're wicking off the resistance, right? So this to me is all bullish. And you know what the most bullish thing is? Very simple, that anybody can spot. You know what it is? A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. We got a three-way pullback and we got an impulse. So we want to flag out and we want to go. This is also Wyckoff, right? You can look at it from a Wyckoff perspective. So we want to get up here and we want to get rolling here. And I think since it's been in a pressure cooker for so long, I mean, this is the monthly chart. You know, we're going back all the way, let's see, 2,527 days, man. That's a lot, right? And, you know, a lot of people say, you know, well, there's so many new coins out there. All the new money isn't going into things like Litecoin. It isn't going into things, right? It's going into like AI. It's going into this. Well, here's the thing. A rising tide raises all ships, right? I mean, that's kind of a cliche thing to say, but it's true. So, and they do have a good point, right? Why would I buy something like a dinosaur like Litecoin when I can buy something like, you know, AI or something? Well, again, it's more of a technical thing. I'm just looking at the chart, all right? And I can't speak on that because I can't, right? But at the end of the day, I can only speak about what the chart tells me, and I think it looks very well. So what if it's not? What if it's terrible? Then the only thing I could see that's terrible would be boom, 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 and then boom. But we'll know if that happens because we would get very strongly rejected. And that would be sort of a B, C, a big three-wave move that wouldn't even really make too much sense. So, all right, so you want to know what the last thing is? You want to know what the last thing is? Well, we got to talk about targets. But the last thing is kind of like the grand finale of why I'm bringing this up. Because I just found out that Litecoin on the 2-month chart just landed on a 2-month 9 buy when it comes to Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Look at that. It could be nothing, but I don't think it is. So we've already had 2 consecutive 9s. Right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on a 9 in the 5th of the 5th. Okay? So I feel like this is pretty huge. This chart goes all the way back to 2013. Not many charts do that. And what I can see, you can obviously see a downtrend, right? It looks bad, it looks bearish. But when things get too crazy, you get these big pops back to the upside, right? So you could just take a line right there. I'm expecting it to get at least back to this line before probably it goes lower. But man, that would be one hell of a trade. Looking at it from Litecoin versus Bitcoin perspective. So again, you could see 1, 2, 3. You could see 4, and you can see 5. Same thing here. You have 1, 2. All of this is 3. This is 4, and this is 5. And you have a 9 in the 5th of this 5th wave move on a 2-month chart. So it's going to take time. We might spend 6 months down here building a base before we go up. I'm just pointing out where we are in the Litecoin sort of cycle, right? Because I find it interesting, you know, it keeps bleeding against Bitcoin, but I'm wondering for how long. Or is it just going to go to 0, right? Maybe it will. But if it is, I expect big bounces in between then. So The reason this 9 didn't play is because you were in the middle of the third wave, right? Now we can see 4 and 5, and we have a 9. But look at the 9. It's a perfected 9, and you still got quite some time left. You got a month and a half left. But if you look, we got a perfected 9, and it's sort of in that doji look, right? So if we can get another candle to sort of confirm that, and we can start seeing a retracement. All right, so the weekly chart, again, we have a breakout, which is good. And now we got smacked right in the retracement levels. That was the first step, getting back into the retracement levels. So we hit the 786, and now we're right below the 618. So let's see what happens in here. We want to flag out, and that would provide an opportunity for me to finally pull the trigger on Litecoin. But everything has to play. Has to have the right look. So let's zoom in to the 4-hour here. To me, it looks like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe we get A, B, and C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's see if we can get 5. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. Okay, sorry about that. I was just taking a look at a couple things, but look at this. All right, so we got Litecoin out of the way. I'm going to show you the target for Litecoin in just a second, but I just wanted to talk about others for a moment and where we are with this. So obviously we're right in the retracement levels in here, right? We had 3 up, we had 3 down, and now we're charging up. So if you look, we came up, we took the high. So this looks like an A, B, C. It looks like we're probably getting a flat in here, or maybe a running flat. Let's look a little bit closer. So either we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to finish that wave, and it be completely finished, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, or this is a bigger 4th wave where we're sort of doing 3 down, we get 3 up, and then maybe we get 5 down, A, B, C, and then continue higher. But we'll track that as the time comes. So right now, the big area we need to get through on others. I mean, the alt season hasn't even started, guys. That was just a little bit of a break. Alt season doesn't start until we actually break out, which is still, over 100 billion away, or less than 100 billion away. So we're right at the 618, right? I want to see it get above the 786, and then we can start rocking and rolling. But for now, since we went up so much, I'd like to see it flag out first. So all right, let's go back to Litecoin. So the target for Litecoin, right? I think we even mentioned a little bit of it. But I wanted to pull it this way, which is right here. From the bottom of this to the top, back down to the bottom. We're looking at minimum $600 up to about $900 to about $1,500. Those are the areas, right? So maybe I would do 15%, 20%, and then maybe 40%. Just off the top of my head, how it would play. So, but yeah, I think we're doing something like what Ethereum did, just a big fat W shape. And I think Litecoin is also a bull market behind. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. So we'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and shout out to all the Litecoin OGs out there. All right, cheers.